she saw an enormous black dog covered with blood feeding on them.
Dogman, the canine cryptid we've all come to know and fear. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Brookestirr Watches. Today, we're going to be taking a look at 5 of the scariest dog men and women from New England. Yes, New England. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I do upload these videos very often. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a walk into the forest. Okay guys, this first one is called Hunting the Hound of Cold Hollow. It's a short documentary on Vermont werewolf legends. So, it's by Black Hat Entertainment. Let's go ahead and give it a watch and make sure you go give it a like.
First time that I was actually, I'm gonna say scared. My cousin and I were going walking in the woods, and we lived on 5 acres of wood, and the back is all woods, and it's called the Dark Woods or the Black Woods. Those are the names of the woods where we live, and everything is fern trees. So fir trees are dark naturally, and it's about 4 o'clock, probably around this time of year, probably October, and we're walking through the woods, and all of a sudden, we're young, I don't know, 6, and he's probably 8 or something like that. We hear a growl. We don't know where it's coming from. Have no clue where it's coming from. And we're just running, but now we have no clue where we're running. We don't know where we're going. We're just running through the woods, hoping we're going in the right direction to either a clearing, a field, the house, or the business that was not too far over. And we just ran our little hearts out and scared to death. And I always had nightmares in this house just because of that, you know, not knowing if it's back then, obviously when you're young, is it werewolves, is it Dracula, is it, you know, like anything like that. And we never really found out what it was, but it stuck with me for a long time.
Wow.
That's probably the first experience I've had feeling, I guess, scared or not knowing what is out there actually.
You would be scared with that, wouldn't you? This next one is called Inside the Bridgewater Triangle Documentary. And it's by the Bridgewater Triangle Paranormal Investigators. Okay, so let's go ahead and give it a watch.
The Hockomock isn't the only place to witness these cryptids. The town of Abington was unfortunate to have an encounter. On the morning of April 30th, 1976, 12-year-old Carol Kane went out to her backyard to feed her 2 ponies, Jojo and Peekaboo, and to her surprise, she saw an enormous black dog covered with blood feeding on them. She ran in terror into the house for her father, Philip Kane. Philip ran outside with a baseball bat, half awake, only to find the ponies with their throats ripped out. The dog disappeared into the adjoining swamps. After, the town panicked and went under lockdown. The next day, police officer Frank Curran followed up on a lead to the dog's whereabouts on the Summer Street Railroad tracks. The officer fired at the dog, but the shot seemed to miss. The dog turned and walked off in the opposite direction. That was the last this beast was ever seen. What's interesting about the triangle is that there's many different theories for the strange phenomena. Some believe that it's due to a vortex, while others believe that it's due to all the negative energy from all the blood spill that's embedded into the land as a result of King Philip's War, while others believe that there's a curse. I mean, a curse would definitely play a major key role for all the strange occurrences.
Alright guys, so make sure you go ahead over to their channel and give them a like, okay guys? They do really, really good stuff over there. So this one right here is called Ambushed by a Pack of Dogmen. Best description of a dogman, encounter with a dogman in Connecticut. All right, and it's by the Supernaturalist channel.
It was just too big to be a bear. This creature was meant to stand up, and it did it as fluidly as you or I would. My view of this thing was from behind, and this creature's shoulders would have put an NFL defensive ends to shame. It was a massive animal.
Whoa.
My partner stopped the truck. The beast cocked its head to the side ever so slightly to the left, revealing a single yellow-green glowing eye shine, then turned to my side, which was the right side of the woods, and bolted. It was over as soon as it started. What my partner and I have always called the werewolf. We estimated him to be around 7.5 feet tall. Our ambulance has a little over 13-foot clearance, and the tufts of his ears lined up with about where our emergency lights were on the front of the truck. The top of its head ended about where the windshield ended. Its shoulders were easily twice as wide as a man's, maybe 4.5 to 5 feet. Its back muscles were well developed, and it had a tapered waist, which led down to a bushy 3 or 4 foot long tail, and I kept referring to it as a he because it had enormous testicles. How it walked around without dragging those things around the ground, I have no idea. And its waist, anywhere between 34 and 40 inches. Its legs bent backwards like a canine's, and I used bent backwards in quotes. I would make out an Achilles heel and a massive clawed foot, and it appeared to be placing its weight on its toes. The upper body's details were more alarming to take in. The ears were cropped like a Doberman's. They stood straight up, and the tufts atop of them were a few inches tall of their own. When it snapped its head to the side to acknowledge us, it laid its ears flat back on the top of its head. He was all business when he did that. I got a perfect profile of its face, and it had rigid, straight cheekbones, which led away from its face and towards a gigantic muzzle. The socket around its eyes looked incredibly human, and the eye itself was probably the size of a racquetball, and it wasn't reflecting light from our scene or headlights. It was either a vibrant yellow-green or seemed self-illuminated. The muzzle had to be a foot long, and it had a big old shiny, or maybe wet, dog nose at the end of it. Its mouth was partially opened when it turned its head, and then it looked like it swallowed. I only caught a short glimpse of its mouth. Its gums were black, and it had a dark, maybe purple tongue. Its teeth were bright white, and it had 2 pairs of fangs. They weren't incisors or insides of its mouth. It had a pair of fangs that sat at the front and outside of its mouth, and at the front and bottom of its mouth. With his mouth closed, you could still see them. And these were teeth designed for puncturing, ripping, and tearing. Off of its incredible shoulders were its arms, which were jacked and almost twice as long as its legs. The claws of the werewolf ended around where his knee was, and its claws had to be 5 or 6 inches long. The claws were attached to digits at the end of a hand and did not look anything like a paw. Its forearms were longer than what was as humorous would be, and made up the majority of the arm itself.
Holy moly. Please go visit the Supernaturalist channel. Click like on this video and also click like on mine. Put your little pretty paws up there. Alright guys, so this one right here is called Top 10 Scary Massachusetts Urban Legends. And it's by Most Amazing Top 10. So make sure out of respect, go give this video, her video, a like, okay? So I actually thought this one right here was a great, I don't know, it's just really weird. It's called The Abandoned Dog Town. So who knows what goes down on here. Just listen to what she has to say about it.
Dogtown is a literal ghost town in the former parish of Gloucester, Massachusetts. Urban legend has it that the town was abandoned and is now overrun with dogs, hence the name. Others say it got its name from its dubious inhabitants in its time. Now texts surmising the town from the 1890s describe Dogtown as being a strange place, where there were, and I quote, women who dressed like men, men who did housework, alleged witches, former slaves, who lived by gypsy ways. Honestly, men doing housework, it must be the work of witches. The community seemed to thrive for just a short period, the mid-1700s until 1928. The last resident of Dogtown was a former slave named Cornelius Blackneel Finson. He was found in 1830 with his feet frozen and living in a cellar hole. The houses were razed, but you can still see remnants of the old settlements today, although many people wouldn't brave a trip for fear of running into wild packs of dogs or spirits of witches still haunting the woods. Coming into number 3, we have the Phantom Black Flash.
And then she also talks about the Bridgewater Triangle on this. So I know we've already covered that, but I would like to hear more about it.
Urban legend, we have the Bridgewater Triangle. The Bridgewater Triangle refers to a rough geographic triangle that encompasses a number of Massachusetts towns, including Abington, Rehoboth, Freetown, Bridgewater, Seekonk, and Berkeley. This triangle is an absolute hotspot for ghostly, paranormal, and satanic activities. Key locations include the Hockomock Swamp, where spirits are said to dwell, the spooky Dighton Rock and Profile Rock with its open-armed ghost, the popular suicide spot, the Solitude Stone, and the Freetown Fall River State Forest, which has seen swathes of ritual and animal sacrifice and murders. The Bridgewater Triangle has had reports of giant snakes, UFOs, poltergeists, Bigfoot sightings, Pukwudgie sightings, random fireballs and floating orbs, as well as many ghostly occurrences. Honestly, we could do a top 10 on that place alone. Finally, coming into number 1, the most...
And also Dogman there too. Alright guys, so this last one right here is called Cryptid by State, Maine by Ben Miller. So you know what to do out of respect. Go pause his like button as well as put your little pretty paws on my like button. Thanks guys, I really do appreciate it. I know it's silly. I know I say it a lot, but it really helps the algorithm, guys. Like with the YouTubers you like, please hit that like button, okay? Like it really helps us. And subscribe to us too. That's very important, but I figured that's just known. But anyway, let's get into the video.
Our next story is quite interesting, and it involves dogmen. Maine has quite a few reports of dogmen, but none are as fascinating as the one described from the Palmyra area. Eric and Shelley Martin had decided to move into a secluded farmhouse in Maine due to wanting to simplify their lives. Eric was an avid hunter most of his life, and as such he had amassed quite a collection of guns. Shelley wasn't a fan of firearms, so they came to the compromise that they would be kept in the barn under lock and key. After a year of uneventful nights, they started to notice odd things beginning to occur.
Now, I'm sorry, but I have covered this story before, but this is someone different telling the story. And it might have some more viewpoints on it, and it was from New England, so I figured I would just throw it in. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer. Sorry.
Eric told his wife that while in the barn, he would frequently catch sight of a ghostly teenage girl that, according to him, looked mean and was dressed in older clothes.
Yes, yeah, I didn't know
One
that.
night, while on the porch, the husband and wife saw odd white lights flashing in the forest. Assuming it to be poachers, Eric and his son Sean went out to investigate, but couldn't find anything. Later, their daughter Chelsea was walking in the woods with her boyfriend Nathan, along with their 2 hunting dogs, when the animals caught the scent of something and ran off. When they finally caught up with the dogs, they found them circling a large hole in the ground that appeared smooth, like something had dug it intentionally. Feeling uncomfortable about the situation, the pair returned home. Then on Memorial Day weekend, Shelley was making herself coffee for the evening when she noticed that her dogs didn't want to leave their cages. It was at this moment that Eric became uneasy with the situation and ushered his family inside. Hearing a sound coming from outside, they looked out and saw 5 pairs of glowing greenish-yellow eyes staring back at them from the woods. It quickly became apparent that these beings were a pack of dogman-like beings, with some of them staying low on all fours while others would walk on their hind legs. They were covered in dark brown fur, had a long muzzle, kangaroo-shaped legs, they had long claws, and pointed ears that rose 3 inches above the head. Eric wanted to try to get the guns, but Shelley feared he wouldn't make it. They knew that they couldn't just sit in the house, so Eric decided to try to get to their vehicle and pull it up close to the porch. The creatures watched him as he slowly walked to the car. As he was about to open the door, one of them started to run at him, but the motion sensor light came on, and it appeared to startle the being, or hurt it, since it ran back immediately. Eric took this moment to run back into the house. The family called the police, but it was obvious that they didn't believe them. So after a few attempts to retrieve a gun failed, the group decided to huddle into one of the bedrooms, just hoping for daybreak. They claimed that all the while they could hear the creatures walking around their house, making odd growling noises that appeared to be some form of communication. For some unknown reason, the beings never tried to enter the house, and by daybreak, they were gone. When they checked for signs of the beings, they found many prints that resembled a huge dog with long claws in the grass and dirt.
Well, everyone, what did you think about those 5 scary dogmen and women encounters from New England? Let me know in the comments below. Also, have you had a dogmen, women, or plain out cryptid encounter? Let me know. I'm going to throw my email up there, okay guys? And Wolfpack, I hope you have a very, very good Christmas. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope it is the best, okay? Make sure to spend time, lots of love with your family and friends and close people, close ones, loved ones. Thank you guys for watching, and until the next. Bye!